Yeah, yo, it's the truck driver. How the flock are you? Well, it's Sunday. I'm out here in my kitchen, washing tighty-whities in the sink. Save money. When you're old like me and you're retired and you've been through bad divorce, bankruptcy, living on the street, limited income, you do things like this to save $1 or $2. It's what you got to do. Well, how do you know? Recently here, my best buddy in life, Granny Trucker, Ellen Vaughn, recently had a triple aneurysm. And I've been running between here and the hospital as I can about once a week to get up there and see her because she needs to be bucked up, if you know what I mean. She needs to be know that she's loved and cared for. And the bender I've been on about raising finances to help her once she gets out. I was thinking this morning, and trust me, I haven't slept too well in about the last 3-4 weeks. If I'm lucky, I get 4 hours of sleep at night and my eyeballs pop open. Last night I was great. I got 6 hours sleep. I almost feel like a human being. But with the situation with Granny, I was thinking, when it comes to life, there's two things in the world that nobody but God can help you with. One is being born, and the other is dying. It does not matter how many people love you or care for you. It does not matter how many doctors you got around you or what kind of medical miracles they can perform. When God punches your time clock, cha-ching, you're done. Now, a lot of you know, back when I was 49 years old, 1996, I had a brain bleed. Not anywhere near as bad as what Granny's had. But somehow I'm believing that God got me through it. I'm also believing God's going to get her through it. But it's going to take time. And she's gone through 2 brain operations so far. And she's got to go back for another one in about 6 months. Now, anybody's been following me on YouTube or any of my social sites has seen the pictures. I was finally able to get a couple of videos of her. And you can see, if you know her, she's not quite back up to speed and quite possibly may never be. We don't know yet. She's trying. But I'm out there banging the gong, saying, help a lady. We don't know if her insurance, such as it is going to cover all the bills. She's retired on a fixed income. That's the reason I'm out here, doing what I can to try and help her, to promote her, any way I can. And I make no bones about it. You go through life, sometimes you run across people, whether it's family, friends, loved ones, whoever, that you will go to the mat for, that you will do whatever you can to help them any way you can, even if it's just a little small amount. Pat on the back, kiss on the cheek, a hug, a couple of bucks here and there to help you get over the bad times. I know what it's like to be on the streets and have nothing. I've been there. It's not a nice place to be. I remember a time when I was living in my old Ford van, eating out of dumpsters, showering in truck stops. A couple friends came along and helped me. Thank God that was almost 8 years ago. I wouldn't wish it onto my worst enemy. I was fortunate when I had my brain bleed. I was working full-time for an excellent company, and I had excellent insurance. But even with that, the company came to me and gave me a cash donation to help me over different things that the insurance and my paycheck would not cover. And let's face it, when you're out on workman's comp, Everybody knows you only get about 60% of your base pay, and with me, you're missing out about 14 hours of overtime a week. So that's a big bite in the butt financially. So I'm out here just doing what I can for Granny, stopping and thinking about there, but for the grace of God, could go you. Matter of fact, Granny's grandson was over here last night. He was telling me he's got a bunch of guys he plays hacky sack with over here at the park. And he got over there, and a couple guys were dressed in suits, and he's looking at them like, what is going on? Evidently one of their friends. Now, we're talking about a guy that's in his 20s. Had an aneurysm, and it burst in his 20s, and he was dead before he hit the ground. Now, that's a little bit of a wake-up call, ain't it? So, it is what it is. But I know Granny Trucker's going to go through a heck of a rehab. We're waiting for her to get done getting over this pneumonia thing before they take her over, put her in Moss rehab. Now, granted, she thinks she's only going to be there a few weeks. I know she's going to be there a little longer. And her grandson will end up being probably the primary care person to take care of her, because she raised him since he was about 2 years old. And I know he's feeling, I'm going to say for a 20-year-old kid, he's probably feeling a little scared, a little pressured, But he's been standing up to it like a man, He's been doing the best he can with what he got. Trying to make sure that when she does come home, the place where they're living is presentable, that she has the needed items. He can't do it all by himself. I can't do it. I've got plans in my life. Like I say, Granny is the sister I never had. I love her dearly. But I've got plans in my life that I have to go forward with. I may not always be around there, and I only live 2 blocks away from where she's living. But with things coming up in my life, I might end up 600 to 800 miles away in the next year. So it's like I'm doing what I can now while I'm here to help her. And I will continue, even at a distance, to try and help her, because she's a good person. But I keep asking, and I know my friends on my social sites and on YouTube have got to be shaking their heads and saying, when is this simpleton going to let up and let it go away? And one friend of mine sat there and said, well, she can always try and get some charity care. Well, fine. Back in 2011, they thought I had a heart attack. The company I worked for dropped their medical insurance because of Obamacare. I ended up 3 days in a hospital. The only thing they found out is I got high blood pressure, my cholesterol was up. They never did find out exactly what went wrong that put me in the emergency room. But for 3 days in a hospital, it was a $27,000 bill for me. Now, I applied for charity care, and I was fortunate. It got reduced down to $8,000 from $27,000. I am still paying off doctors, and probably will be for the next 2 to 3 years, 20 or 40 bucks a month until I can pay that stuff off. I had one schmuck that couldn't work with me and had to turn me into a collection agency, even knowing what my situation was. Yeah, that's a doctor for you, right? Actually, not him. His idiot in the office that doesn't bother to call. And I know that Granny's going to be facing stuff like this. This is why I'm on a bender to raise these funds. I'm trying to raise 10 grand to cover stuff like this that happens. Because you're going to run into people like that they want their pound of flesh no matter how bad off you are. They don't give a flying frig. It's just the society we live in today. And as far as, quote, forgiving debt on those that are in need of a little helping hand, it barely exists anymore. So, like I say there, but for the grace of God, go you or I, I was fortunate. I had my brain bleed when I was 49. Granny's 60. I came back a little bit better and a little bit quicker than she did. And it's going to be a while before she comes all the way back. She wanted to move down to Georgia to be near family and friends there the day before she had the aneurysm. She had the house packed up and ready to go, the trailer loaded. Boom, had the aneurysm. Needless to say, everything came to a screeching halt. In her mind, she still thinks that, 4 weeks, 6 weeks from now, she's going to get out of the hospital and go to Georgia. I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen, no matter what she thinks. I've tried to present it to her, and she just tries to ignore it. But it's a fact of life. She's not going to bounce back as a 60-year-old obese woman as fast as I did at 49 and physically fit that was moving 40 tons of freight a day. But I keep asking, I'll keep hammering. But for the grace of God, there go you and I. That's the reason I keep asking for help. $5, $10, $20, $50, $100. And, you can donate through my landlord attorney here in Collingswood, New Jersey, or my GoFundMe site online, or you can use a credit card to help Granny. I can't always be there for her, but I'm trying to make a way available that if she needs help, even if I'm not here, there's backup for her. I'm one person. I can't do it all. That's the reason I'm asking you folks out there in the Ethernet. Can you lend a hand for a 60-year-old woman? She's going to have a long road to hoe. 6 months from now, she has to go in for a third brain operation where they put that bone that they took out of her head back in. They got to split her open again, put the bone in. There's going to be rehab after that. Let's face it, anytime you're messing with the brain, that's a sensitive thing. Something goes wrong, you could end up in a basket case the rest of your life. I don't want that on my conscience. How about you? So there it is. It's Sunday. Oh, if you're wondering why I'm washing clothes in the sink, I'm on a fixed income too. But even on my fixed income, there's people that I have helped financially with my meager income. So what do? I wash clothes in the sink to save a few bucks for laundry money. I make a sacrifice to help other people. Would you make a sacrifice to help a person, even if they were a stranger? I just ask the questions, folks. It is what it is. Like I say, there, but for the grace of God, go you or me. Think on it. Maybe he'll get you to donate a little bit. The Ugly Trucker thanks you. Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.